I have long admired John Powell and his research and civil rights work. And many friends and colleagues have recommended his book, The Power of Bridging. Recently, the Bush Foundation, a major foundation here in Minnesota and the Dakotas, recommended it as a common read. They didn't just recommend it, they offered to buy a book for anyone who was willing to read. I jumped on the chance. And a few months later, they hosted an evening conversation with John Powell at the Fitzgerald in St. Paul with Minnesota Public Radio, and we were able to go. Today, I want to share with you some of what I took away from reading The Power of Bridging that we can apply as leaders. The four key concepts of The Power of Bridging are belonging, othering, breaking, and bridging. Belonging is this notion where we feel we're a part of something whole. We're included, we're seen and valued for who we are authentically and genuinely. And othering is the opposite of that, when we feel we're not part, we're not included, we're dismissed, we're marginalized, and we're unincluded. And breaking is what leads to othering. It's where a conflict, a failure of relationship, policies, this can happen at the interpersonal, institutional, and systems level. And bridging is the opposite of breaking. Bridging is where we're bringing people together. We're seeing common ground. We're trying to repair and heal so that people can have that sense of belonging, and so that the whole is strengthened by their sense of belonging and by that bridging. Powell explains all of this with great storytelling and references to psychology, neuroscience, history, historical figures, so many different avenues coming together all as one. One of the things that Powell seems to kind of stumble on through his writing of the book is that he comes near the end of the book and he says, maybe I'm not bridging, maybe I am a bridger. And this notion of doing bridging, shifting into being bridging, I found really powerful. This move from doing to being is something that comes up in my coaching and my coach training. It comes up with leaders who go often from doing the work to who they are as a visionary leader, showing up, their presence, and their just nature of being becomes the most powerful tool they have as leaders. Powell also talks about, a little bit to his surprise, I think, about the spiritual foundations of bridging. He talks about transactional bridging, where we maybe bridge to get something from someone, a favor, a job, something like that, to transformational bridging, which changes all of us, to spiritual bridging, which sees the interconnected nature of all of this. Now, the book starts out with Powell talking about his childhood and a break from the church, which led to a break from his family. And so this notion of spirituality isn't necessarily religious, although it can be. But Powell connects it to his Christian roots. He connects it to indigenous worldviews. He connects it to Buddhist perspectives and psychology. And I think when we can connect to that interconnectedness of it all, the bridging becomes easier. It becomes easier to be. It becomes less a struggle and a conflict to overcome, less a hard thing or a difficult conversation. And it becomes about living out the realities of how we want to be in the world. Now, this kind of bridging is so needed in our leaders today. We see polarization and reactivity and marginalization all around us. We see it in society, we see it on the news, we see it in the teams that we lead, we see it in the clients that we serve, we see it all around us. And we need now more than ever leaders who can bridge those differences, not just communicate across differences, but bridge and bring them together. See the tensions as an asset to bring about more humanity, more community, more collaboration, more collective knowing and wisdom and innovation, more progress, not for some and not for others, but more progress for every single one of us. And these times we need bridging more than ever. We need leaders who can do it, and more than anything, we need leaders who can be it, leaders who can be bridgers. It was a real treat to be able to read the book and then see John Powell live in an interview here in our community. And as I think about the leaders that I work with, they're so deeply committed to this, sometimes not sure how to do it. They're definitely yearning for it. They want to feel included themselves. They want to include others. They want to do that bridging. They want to foster that sense of belonging. They're tired of the breaking and the othering that they see around them in so many different places. I found this book useful in really zeroing in on what is going on here, understanding it, talking through strategies and tools to do the bridging. But the being aspects of being a bridger, the spiritual aspects of bridging were quite powerful for me, and they might be for you. Bridging is so important in these days and times. And if you're a leader who wants to not just do bridging, but be a bridge for your organization, those you serve, and your communities as a whole, I'd love to be helpful. Let's connect.